Between two shores. Turkey is a bridge between the East and the West, between two civilizations whose past and present are inextricably intertwined. It's wonderful to discover how a simple bridge can override our differences. Friendship, folklore, and tradition are symbols of mutual influence. Our journey begins at the Certosa di San Martino, the focal point for the academic study of the noblest and most highly acclaimed tradition of the Neapolitan nativity scene, whose golden era was during the reign of Charles III of Bourbon, 1734-1759. The nativity scene, nominated by the famous German writer Goethe, is still today one of the most celebrated characteristics of the Neapolitan people. A stable is built on a light wooden board, and various ornaments and decoration are then added. Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus are placed in the stable together with the other characters of the nativity scene. In the background, Vesuvius puts an incomparable finishing touch to the whole scene. Cucinello, 1741, is the most celebrated nativity scene of those present in the Certosa today, and it was donated by an anonymous cavalier in 1879. Its attraction lies in the exotic Oriental representation of the procession of the three wise men. Many of the characters are in traditional Turkish dress, made out of precious materials, and are wearing showy ornaments of silver and gold. In fact, the imagination of the Neapolitan people was fired by the arrival in Naples of the Turkish ambassador and his entourage, who had been invited to Naples by Charles III of Bourbon.
The treaty with the Sublime Porta Ottomana resulted in an increase in trade with the Orient. This event was officially celebrated in a painting by the courtier painter Giuseppe Bonito. As written in the chronicles of the time, the components of the Turkish embassy were seen walking around the streets of Naples in their picturesque clothes. We were acquainted with new tastes and particular costumes. The Muslim and Christian civilization have met and clashed on many occasions. In the Battle of Poitiers 732, the Battle of Lepanto 1571, and lastly the Siege of Vienna 1683. By this time, the Turkish Empire dominated the Mediterranean, but their attempt to take the Viennese city was foiled in a surprise counterattack by the Christian army. The Ottoman expansionist aims were thus brought to a halt. As the wave of terror passed, Europe rediscovered the mystic and charm of the Orient. In 1750, the first edition of a collection of Arabian stories called 1001 Arabian Nights was published. They are extraordinary adventures, places and characters whose names are still famous today, such as Baghdad, Ali Baba, Aladdin and Sinbad the Sailor. Sometimes it is difficult to believe just how much our folklore and traditions can be influenced by history. Legend has it that during the siege of Vienna, it was the Viennese bakers who gave the alarm when they heard the Turks trying to penetrate the city underground. When the Turks abandoned their camps, they left sacks full of raw coffee, and so this is how the new drink was introduced to Europe.
The victory was celebrated with the creation of a new kind of cake in the shape of a crescent or half moon, the idea being taken from the Turkish flag. It was given the name of croissant or crescent. So it was thanks to the two Australian sisters, Queen Mary Antoinette and Queen Maria Carolina, that the habit of taking coffee and croissant began in Paris and Naples, the two great cities of the 18th century. The exotic charm of the Orient and the classical charm of the West have always merged in this magical country, the hub of international trade. The symbolic Tower of Galata is testimony to the age-old Italian presence in Turkey. It was built in Istanbul in 1348 by the Republic of Genoa, the principal commercial maritime power of the time. Turkey retains an oriental nature, but at the same time it is projected towards the west and is a link between the Mediterranean and the Black Sea. Thanks to the influence it has both on the east and the west, it is still today a bridge between the two continental blocks, as we have seen during our brief journey through the centuries. Hopefully, the role of Turkey as a member of the EU can be summed up in the words of the Turkish writer and essayist Orhan Pamuk, who won the Nobel Peace Prize in 2006. I spent my life in Istanbul, on the shore of Europe, in houses facing the other shore of Asia. By being close to the water's edge and looking at the other continent, I was able to remember what my place was in the world, and this was a good thing. Then, one day, a bridge was built which connected the two shores of Bosphorus. When I was on the beach and saw the panorama, I realized it was even better and more beautiful to see the two shores together. I realized that the best thing was to be the bridge between the two shores, to turn to both without belonging to either.